Complaining. I was with a Sunday school class earlier this morning. We talked a little about the sin of complaining and how the Bible treats that, how God views that. 1 Corinthians 10, 1 through 12, you don't have to go there, shows us that complaining is actually a very serious sin. It describes the people of Israel as complainers. They complained while they were in Egypt. They complained when they got to the Red Sea. They complained when they were at Marah, where the bitter water was. And then they complained and complained and complained. And 1 Corinthians says what was the result of their complaining. And it's a little morbid, but their bodies were strewn across the wilderness. Because they complained and would not believe in God, their bodies were laid waste across the desert. It's a horrible picture of what happens when we complain. Despite all of God's previous work, His communications, His miracles, the people complain. Is this not the blindness of our sin? I mean, how blinding. Their complaint is, well, at least when we were in slavery, we had food to eat. We had this and that. I just think it's like saying now, as a believer, like you think about, well, at least when I was, going around in the world, living in the world, at least I had some companions for a night. That's stupid. I mean, that's ridiculous. Why would the blindness of sin? It's like saying for someone who's coming out of drugs and alcohol, they come out and say, well, at least then I didn't feel the pain. Feel the pain. You're blinded from the pain. And it sounds so ridiculous for us in hindsight. For us to look at this and say, wow, the people of Israel, how could you say this? You just saw stuff that we in this day, we've never seen. But we do the same things. When we look back at our sins and when we think about, man, the feeling I had when I was doing that, my blood was pumping, I felt excited, I was exhilarated. At least I was feeling something. And so we look at them and they're just so blinded by sin. And I hesitate to be very judgmental of the people of Israel when I see the exact same sins in my life. We could do this all day. We could talk about sins all day, about laziness, right? Oh, man, but at least when I was lazy, at least I had some rest and I wasn't so exhausted all the time. That felt great. No! You were lazy. Flee these sins. Don't be blinded by them.